Alright, we are back in the shop, finally, making a video for you guys. What we have here is what I thought was a piece of mulberry. It actually turns out to be a piece of elm. Just drilling it here for a woodworm screw. I use this clear plate to mark my holes. Just easier to visualize where the bowl will be. Alright, mount it up on the lathe with the old woodworm. Alright. Get ready for the satisfying sound of peeling the bark off. Yeah, that was good. Last time I didn't remove the bark, I launched it across the room, so that's why I did that. Face shield, of course, especially with something like this. And my 5/8 bolt gouge. Alright, right here is where I realized how bad this piece really was, and I debated not turning it at all. I thought about just pulling it off lathe, chucking it in the pile, and grabbing a new piece. But I persevered. Those cuts right there were just to establish where the rim was, so I have a place to aim for when I come up from the bottom for my supporting grain cut. And I'm also creating the bottom of the bowl, and you'll notice it's a little bit different, which I'll explain why here in a minute. I'm checking the bottom, make sure it's flat. And the only way to really do this is with a really sharp, freshly sharpened gouge and take a light, thin cut. I say, with it being this punky, you're going to see here I'm going to dump a lot of CA glue on it. Probably use 3 ounces of CA glue altogether. The Starbond Thin. And I haven't used it in a little bit. I had to rip the lid off, and yeah, that went well. But I'm going to douse it on here, and I got a shot of it smoking. I evacuated the shop rather quickly after doing this. That got a little stinky. You know, wear a respirator when you're doing this. I didn't have mine on like an idiot. I don't know if you could hear the piece crackling. It got so hot with it curing. And then I thought this was cool to see it. I didn't even notice it did this when I recorded it because I evacuated the shop while the camera was recording. And I did the whole thing. I just doused it. I buy it by the 16-ounce bottle. Like I said, I put probably 3 ounces of CA glue on this thing. And then just some light shear scrape cuts just to clean up any of the high spots and make sanding a little bit easier. And then finish cleaning up the bottom, and I'll explain why I did it this way here in a second. Alright, I'm going to talk at the camera for a little bit now. Since I was gifted a bunch of faceplates back in December, I've changed the way I do my bottoms of my bowls and the way I attach my bowls to the lathe. As you can see in the video, I just did a flat bottom on it. I didn't put a dovetail, I didn't put a mortise, I didn't put anything fancy like that. I now use glue box on faceplates. Much better, especially for something punky like that thing. What I have here is faceplate. I put a glue block on it. I've got a bunch of them back here ready to go. And I've got a tailstock for my lathe that has the 1x8 thread TPI. So, glue box screws onto that. This will ensure when I stick it to the bowl that it's square to the bowl and everything turns true. Here I have a frying pan, just a cheap electric frying pan, nothing fancy. And I have filled it with hot glue. Not all the way, this is a cheap frying pan. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stick the glue block in the hot glue, and then I'm going to go over to the lathe, stick this in the tailstock, and then run the tailstock into the bowl blank. And this will assure good connection. I can leave it there, let it set up, and the advantage is I can take this on and off the lathe and it'll run true every time I put it back on. So when I go to finish, I'll leave it on the glue block. If I've got to add more CA, I can pull it off the lathe but leave it on the glue block, do my CA work while I'm doing another project. Huge efficiency thing, much safer attachment. Like I said, tenon or mortise would just rip out on that piece and I'd end up beating SpaceX to orbit with the thing. So that's my new method, and whoever sent me those faceplates, again, I can't thank you enough. You have completely changed the way I do this, and it is so much safer, so much faster, so much more efficient. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Also, on the bottom of my bowls, I've got an example sitting right here. I do a slight convex on the bottom of the bowl. And the bottom of the faceplate has a slight convex as well. That'll ensure that the outside rim is making the most contact, and it just gives me a better, truer turning blank. So I'm going to put you over by the lathe. I'm going to dip this thing in hot glue, and we're going to stick it on the bowl. I'll show it to you. Another advantage of having it on that tailstock adapter there is I can keep spinning it like a glass blower. Spins a piece of hot glass that keeps the glue centered from dripping off. And then I got a little time lapse of the glue curing. I thought that was cool, just to see it change from clear to white. Alright, glue is cured. I'll just use my gouge to cut it off, or trim it up. You don't need all that sitting there flopping around. And there you go. Perfect line. Alright, I want to show you how true it's running. I haven't done anything to it. Just spun it on there and it's almost perfect. Alright, figured I'd show my sharpening process. I use the Mulberry Very Grind jig and 180 grit CBN wheel on a Harbor Freight grinder. $200 worth of jig and wheel on a $40 grinder. But it literally, I think this took me 1 minute and 20 seconds and I sharpened 2 gouges. Best system out there. Creates almost no heat. I can touch the edges immediately after pulling it off the wheel. There's no heat, so you're not losing the temper on your tools. But fantastic way to do it. See? You know, I can touch it right away. On a stone, you wouldn't do that. It'd be a little on the warm side. You wouldn't have any fingerprints left. Alright, flattening the face off. I'm going to show you something cool here, how deep that CA really sunk in, that Starbond thin. You can actually see like how deep that penetrated into the wood. That's why I like using that to stabilize punky. And some super high speed hollowing. And shoulder cam. Yep, more CA. This time I had good ventilation in the shop. Windows open, fans on, and after I put it on, I walked away. And some light shear scrape just to clean up any high spots that the CA left. Alright, and on to sanding. We're going to go from 80 grit up to 400 grit. And then maybe, I don't know, I might pop up to 600 grit. I won't know till I do it. I'm not going to show much of the sanding because, oh my god, it's sanding. But yeah, we're going to move through the matrix here. And that's me starting, and there we are, finished. I only went to 400 grit. The cost in sandpaper on this was crazy. I went through a lot of paper. To do a bowl like this is really not cost effective. By the time you figure in the price of the CA glue that I put on it and the pile of sandpaper, you know, for filming this is a cool video, but I wouldn't sell this. I wouldn't make these to sell just because of the cost. I'm cleaning it up with denatured alcohol, and then I'm going to spray it with lacquer. Light coats. Every 15 minutes I'm going to do a light coat like this. I'll talk about it at the end, but I kind of screwed this part up. Alright, now we part it off. Starting out with the parting tool. I think this is a 3/16 parting tool. I'll go in a little ways, and then I'm going to grab a thin curve parting tool and go in a little bit more. And then the cool part about this is I don't have to have it on the lathe for the rest of this. I could take it off the lathe and do this, but to release the hot glue, you don't have to cut it or anything. Just soak the area with denatured alcohol and let it sit for 20, 25, 30 minutes. The more coats you put on, the easier it'll be. But you'll be able to just literally pop this thing right off. I mean, this is a punky bowl, and you'll see I'll just pull it right off of here. That was kind of cool to showcase it. And like I said, you don't have to have it on the lathe to do this. Came right off. I'll just take a chisel and scrape what's left off. As you can see, it's already releasing from the bowl itself. And then sand the bottom up. And of course, we're going to burn our logo in with our Laserpecker 2 laser engraver. Not sponsored. I just like it. Alright everybody, it's done. It was a lot more than I expected. I was looking for just a simple turn. I just wanted to showcase my new faceplates. And it ended up being a rather interesting one with wood that was way punkier than I expected. At first I thought it was a piece of mulberry. Turns out it was a piece of elm. And way punky, way rotted, way bug-eaten. But I decided to finish it anyway. I shellacked it, because there's no reason not to. This is not really going to be a food safe with all the CA glue I put on it. But it still came out rather nice. So a little bit of tear out here that I couldn't really fix. So fill it with CA and shellac. Or not shellac, lacquer. Still, it's got some nice color. It's got a little bit of chatoyance on the one side. Mistakes were made, but, you know, it is what it is. When I did the bottom, I don't know if you can see it, there's a little bit of a mark there where it changes. Well, What I should have done when I went to part, before I sanded, I should have taken my parting tool and I should have come in and did a 1/4 inch part, you know, come in about a 1/4 inch deep with my part and then sanded. Then that would have allowed me to sand all the way down to the true bottom of the bowl. I didn't do that, so I had hot glue and stuff on that little bit there, and I wasn't able to get it perfect. Lesson learned for the next time. Like I said, I just forgot to do that. And then, I don't know if you can see it, but I got a little too crazy with the lacquer. Yeah, there it is, right there. And I got a little bit of a run. The first couple of coats I put on the right way, light, easy coats, and then, you know, wait 15 minutes and put another coat on. And then I got impatient and screwed it up. But, you know, it's still, I'm happy with it. Let's get this the right way. I'm happy with it. I mean, I think it looks pretty. It's a little, I don't know, 7 inches, 3 inches deep, something like that. Don't worry about that. But anyway, it's a pretty little bowl. Nice little art piece. You can still put, you know, rat candies in it and stuff. I just wouldn't put soup in it. But anyway, I hope you like it. Please subscribe, share, enjoy. Hopefully I can get videos out on a more regular basis now. Now that I've caught up on everything. Working on a bunch of cutting boards. You can see them stacked in various stages back there. Every one of those is a board starting at the bottom. So that's a board. That's an all cherry one. I got more pieces. Kind of did a little bit of rearranging on the shop too. Got my dust collection hose correct, so I'm not tripping over it. Hence this. But anyway, there she is. One elm punky bowl with some spalting and everything else in it. Hope you enjoy.